bring in my friend here. And I got to tell you, folks, and I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to embarrass him, because the one thing that Herschel Walker doesn't like to do, folks, he does not like to brag on himself. That's just not who he is. But in today's landscape, if people don't know what you accomplished, they somehow seemingly forget. But Herschel's the greatest college football player that's ever lived. He does things his own way. He went to the USFL, put up gargantuan numbers there. And if you put them all together, the same way you put Warren Moon's numbers together, Herschel Walker is a Hall of Famer, but now he's throwing his hat into the political ring, and he joins us now here on the National Football Show. Herschel, thank you so much for doing this, man.
Hello, Dan. How you doing?
All good. Herschel, why have you decided to throw your hat into the political arena now?
Well, I hate to say I'm throwing it in. I'm very much considering it, and I'm talking about seriously considering it because, I talk about sacrificing all the time. And, I've been fortunate over the last 13 years to be at military bases. And I see some true heroes with our women and men of service and how much they've sacrificed. And right now, I think the state of Georgia may need me. I think this country may need me. And so that's the reason I'm very much considering it. And at the same time, that's why I'm taking it very serious. And people don't understand me, and I think you do, that when I say I'm taking things very serious, I got to see if that's what the Lord is asking me to do. And if that is it, I'm going out, and I'm going out to win. I'm going out to do it very much I can, whatever I can for the state of Georgia and for this country.
Herschel, like other athletes who put themselves out there like that, there's always an other side. And for whatever reason, when it comes to Hall of Fame consideration, people have to debate it. I don't think there is a debate. Do you understand now that you getting into, especially the side of the aisle that you're on, people may hold that against you when they're considering you for the Hall of Fame? Does that bother you?
That doesn't bother me at all, because it never, ever been about Herschel Walker in my life. I was very fortunate to have an opportunity to play football. I came out of Wrightsville, Georgia. I was bullied when I was a little kid. I've been blessed my whole life. I love the Lord Jesus Christ. And, what people think about Herschel Walker has never mattered. I think you realize that. And one of the things that I said about this here is when I went to the USFL, people say, oh, that's not going to get you into the Hall of Fame. When I was traded to these all different teams, oh, that's not going to get you in the Hall of Fame. And what's wild about it is my numbers never lie. And they would never lie, and I'm not going to sit here and try to debate with anyone about it. But I always say whenever someone want to ever compete against me, I'm always ready. But I don't have a lot of people calling my name to do it, even today. And so I don't really worry about all this Hall of Fame stuff. And not to be mean, there's some people that should be in it right now that's not in it. And I feel that if I was going to be in it, I should have been considered a long time ago. So I'm not going to worry about things like that.
Does it bother you that you have to debate with people over your resume? I look at it, and Herschel, I shake my head. Like you said, there's other guys that, Cornelius Bennett, this guy's got 7 Pro Bowls, but you know what they hold against him? Because he lost 5 Super Bowls. He's not in the Hall of Fame, but hey, man, that Bills team with all those great players that they had up there, he was one of those guys, and I had him on too, and he goes like this, the same thing as you. He's like, hey, I hate to have to sit here and promote myself. Do you do the same? Do you hate that also?
I never do that. One thing about it is, and people don't know, I didn't grow up playing football. I never watched football. I didn't grow up playing it. And like I said, I was blessed to have an opportunity to play with some incredible players, to be with some incredible coaches. And so I was blessed to be with those guys. And so I don't think about that right there because, as a little boy, and I always tell this story. I remember, I was bullied. You know that story. But
yep.
I remember I had one pair of Sunday shoes to go to church. And I hid them because I didn't want to go to church. When you go to the church in the South, you're there all day long. My church lasts forever. And ever is a long time. You go at 9 o'clock to Sunday school. You stay to 4 in the afternoon. I didn't want to go. And as my mom was getting ready, my nickname is Bo, as she was getting ready, she turned to me and she said, Bo, are you ready to go? And I said, no, Mom, I can't find my shoes. And she turned to me and she said, Jesus don't care how you look. And it really struck me at that time that, in my life, you grow up getting people on earth to give you praise. You're never going to make it because there's going to be someone against you. And I said, I don't look for that. I just go out to do my best. And that's just like in this political arena. When you said that about, and what I stand for, some people not going to like it. And I said, guys, I stand for truth. I stand for honesty. And I stand for what I believe in. I'm not trying to hurt anyone else. I love the Lord Jesus. I love this country, and I love my family. And to be honest, in today's world, America is my family. If you're an American, you're my family. And I saw that when I was in the Olympics. I did the World Cup when we were doing all the different sled events. But when I got to the Olympics and I saw the United States Olympic team come to that stadium, everyone on the America's team was my sister and brother. And I would have died for them. That's no lie. I would have died for them right there in France if I had to, because they were my sisters and brothers. And that's what I look at right to today. So when they talk about me throwing my head into the political arena, I said, guys, I'm going to think about it, because, as I said, Georgia, I think right now there's a lot going on in Georgia. Georgia is my home, and Georgia may need me. And if the Lord is telling me that, I'm going to go there and I'm going to fight for everyone. I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican. I'm going to fight for you. And anyone that know anything about me know I'm going to do that.
Absolutely. Herschel, so many places I could go with your response there. And let me go right there in Georgia, in Atlanta. What's your feelings on Major League Baseball? And hear me out on this. I mean, so when Henry Aaron passes away, you yank that all-star game out of Atlanta, the home of Martin Luther King, and you put it in a more stricter area in Colorado with less African Americans and less black businesses, and people just see the headlines, Herschel. They don't know that it's even worse with voter restrictions in that state, and they yank it out of Atlanta. I don't know. I don't mean to set the question up here like this, but you've got to be a little outraged.
Well, I was upset because they don't realize how many small businesses, how many minority businesses they hurt by leaving Atlanta. And you're right that by moving out of Atlanta, trying to make a statement, but then it was a political thing that happened and had anything to do with the town. It just was a political statement. It is sad that this country has boiled down to that, is you believe in this or you believe in that. And if you don't get along with someone, it's a violent reaction or it's some kind of argument. And that's what's sad. This is the greatest country in the world, and we know how to get along. And people can argue with Herschel Walker all you want, but we got to continue to get back to law and order. And, and law and order got to be fair for everyone, not just for one group or one side or one race. Got to be fair for everyone. We got to get back to opening up these businesses, get people back to work. I'm shocked that some people don't want to go back to work. And, I love to work. That's my mom used to say, if you don't work, you don't eat. That's where I grew up. You don't work, you don't eat. And I love to work and stuff. And I think that's what we got to do, is come back together. I think the worst thing that ever happened to this country right now is for us always worried about this donkey and this elephant. You're worried about party lines. Why are we not worried? Why are we not worried about American lines? What's good for America, not what's good for different parties. And I think that's what we got to get back to.
Your relationship with President Trump, did that begin when you were there? I don't believe he was initially there when you were drafted by the generals at the USFL. Did it become a bigger relationship while you guys got to know one another and where it is today? I know you guys are very close friends. The president tweets at you all the time. Talk a little bit about that relationship.
Well, what's funny is you're right. When I first signed to the USFL, there was a guy from Oklahoma by the name of J. Walter Duncan that owned the team. And almost a year after he bought the team, Donald Trump ended up buying the team from him. And at that time, Donald and I became friends, not just, like owner, player, friend. We became family friends. His kids start going to every Disney, SeaWorld, and all those places they went. They went with my family. They traveled with my family. They traveled with Herschel Walker. And they went out and did everything with my family. So we became family friends. And they came over to my house to eat. I was at his house eating, whatever. And I knew the man. And I still know him, because after I left the USFL, he and I still talk. His family and I still talk. It was not like we just were friends for the USFL. We were friends forever. And when he became president, we continued to be friends. And one thing that was very strange is a lot of people don't know when all this stuff was going on and everyone calling him all types of names and, however somebody would say, oh, I have one black friend. Oh, wow, that's so incredible. Well, Donald Trump was my friend. And not one time did he ever ask Herschel Walker to speak for him. We talk and he never said one word about speaking for him. I happened to call his people and ask if I can say something. They were shocked. They were shocked that I say something, and I wanted to say something that I knew about Donald Trump. And that's what I say to the people right now. What Herschel Walker know about Donald Trump is telling you what I know about him. And I know about him because I had a friendship with him since 1983. And I know the type of man he is. I know what he does. And the thing is, I'm speaking on that term right there. I'm not going to go by what I've heard on the news media, what I heard part of a statement. I'm going by what I know of the man. A lot of people get upset about it to me. But one thing about it is I'm not going to leave a friend just because you're mad about it. I'm not that type of person. I'm going to believe in you, and I'm going to continue to try to work with you and do whatever I can, because if you're my friend forever. Until you do something and break that friendship, you will always be my friend. I'll always fight for you and do whatever I can for you.
Herschel, is that what inspired you to talk at the RNC there at the White House, that it was you, it wasn't really the Trump folks that reached out to you, that you wanted to speak and say these things? Because, when an African-American speaks up for Donald Trump, you're automatically labeled the word, and I will not ever refuse to use those words.
No, you can say the word coon. But, one of the things that it was funny because I try to explain to people that, as a little kid, I was bullied. So words used to hurt me back then, but I grew up today. And I want to tell anyone that using that word coon that, they need to educate themselves, because a coon is one of the smartest animals out there. So if you're going to call me a bad name, think of an animal that's kind of stupid. Don't think of a coon, because a coon is pretty smart. But at the same time, as I said, I know Donald Trump as a guy I know him as, and I know a lot of things that he's done for African American, and I think they see it today, what he did for a lot of the African American community and stuff. And I'm not here to pick on any one administration, but this administration, Donald Trump administration, did more for African American in 4 years than most administration did in 8 years. And people don't want to acknowledge that. Well, you got to give him the credit where credit deserved. But at the same time, we have to become a country that believes in America. Well, Donald Trump did believe in America. People can say what they want to say. They didn't like America first. I don't know why you don't like that term, but you better believe in America. I want China to believe in China. I want Russia to believe in Russia. I want all these other countries to believe in themselves. And not meaning that you don't go out and help someone else. Yes, you do that. But you got to believe in your country first. One of the things that I give a hat off to our United States military, because they take an oath that I would defend the United States of America, foreign and domestic. When you go into office, you take an oath that I would defend the Constitution. And what's funny, it doesn't seem like now people want to defend the Constitution, but yet we don't do anything about it. We need to start right now, get back to these brass tacks and say, guys, this is the deal right here. And if you don't like it, don't rub off. If you don't like it, don't do it. You don't have to do it. That's what's so funny. That's what's great about America. This is not a country that's going to hold a gun at your head, that's going to throw you into jail if you don't agree with it. This is a country that gives you right to say what you want to say, do what you want to do. It gives you all those rights. And I said, that's what I want to keep this country as. I don't want to change it. There's some things I want to make better. Yes, it is. But changing the overall structure of the United States of America, no, I don't think we want to do that right now.
Couple last questions for you, Herschel. Athletes today, and using their social media platforms and using their position either in the NFL, NBA, or Major League Baseball, do you think you're seeing positive signs right now, or do you think there needs to be a lot more education? Because I think sometimes when I watch the NBA guys, or I watch even the Major League Baseball guys, they make a statement and then they jump in their Ferraris and they're not really engaged in what's going on. That's my perception. Am I wrong when I say that?
Well, what's tough is you're right about that, but what's great about America, you have that right to do that. You have that right to say what you want to say and all that. And so, now because this is a social media world, you have the right to you got to be responsible. And I say to some people, sometimes I'm glad you do say something. It may be against what Herschel Walker believes, but you are speaking out and saying something. But at the same time, I think you got to be responsible. And what I mean by that is this is the United States of America. This is where you're making the money at. If there's another country you feel that you can make more, you can do better in that other country, why not go there and do what you got to get done? Because why will you stay here and make all the money? You know, when I remember Donald Trump first ran for office, there was so many people going to leave if he got elected. Well, he got elected and nobody left. Yeah, nobody left at all, because they do know that this is a great country right here. And do we have our faults? We do have our faults. But you get those done by working together. You don't get them done by working separately. And I think that's the problem we have is God created the United States of America and made it the greatest country in the world by taking a lot of mixed races and throwing them in the pot together, taking a lot of great minds. He threw them in the pots together. It wasn't just one mind he threw, and they threw all these different minds. He stirred it up, and he brought out the United States of America, something that was so beautiful, and having people that can come up with all these different great ideas and make this country great. And we can continue to do that if we work together. You know, we can't be separated. We can't be doing this. And I think that's what we got to get back to, is trying to come together.
You know, Herschel, I don't think people realize this, but one of the things that, you know, I think you were eligible to do, and that was to go to the 1980 Olympics. And I always look back on that and I always wonder, you know, the politics got in the way of the Olympic Games, and politics can get into the way right now of the Olympics. And I just wonder how you see the Olympics this coming summer here, you know, athletes protesting, maybe non-athletes protesting, a political stance, just how you see it, because that was taken away from you. And I don't think people realize that you had qualified, if I'm not mistaken, for the 80 games.
Well, you know, what was sad about that is, you know, when you get in, and you know this, when you're in the sports, it doesn't matter. You know, you're a team. You know, you work together. I don't care what color you are, and you go out and you do things. You're a family. You're a family, and that's what's so funny about it. And I say this name here. There's a guy I played with in Dallas named Todd Fowler. Todd was like my brother. Todd Fowler and Tony Dorsett and I, we were roommates during training camp. The 3 years I was in Dallas, and it's funny because we were totally different people. Todd was white, you know, Tony, he's African-American, I'm black. Now you heard I say he was African-American, I'm black, because, you know, sometimes we're African-American, we're black, or we're color. I'm not sure what I am at sometimes, but anyway, what was funny is Todd was my brother, and I remember people used to think that we were smoking something because we were always laughing. We had a great time. And today Todd is like my brother, and I tell people that, I say, guys, what's funny about my life is in today's world, my family is a mutts. We're all mutts. I have white, black, Chinese, I have Hispanic. I have a Russian girl in my family. I have all these mutts that we've come together, and I love every last one of them. They're the greatest people in the world because we're learning so many different things. And I say, I look at the athletes today, and I said, guys, you know, the Olympics is where you go and you just compete. Have a good time. You know, you go out and compete and the best man wins and all that. And now they put politics involved, and then it just makes things terrible. And I hate to see that. And, you know, like I said, this social media world get athletes involved and doing this and doing that. And it gets to the point, you say, where is it going to stop? And I say, it's going to stop once you get leaders in Washington that's going to really lay the law down, that's going to be fair for everyone, that's going to be fair for this country, for the United States of America, that we're going to protect the United States of America. And like I said, if you don't believe in this structure here, that we say you're more than welcome to go somewhere else. And that's what's so great about it. You know, this is the United States of America. It was built on law and order. Do we need to straighten this law and order out some? Yes, we do. But you cannot do it if you don't have law and order. I don't know where anyone, you know, I got spankings when I was a little kid. And people say, oh, you got a spanking? I said, yeah, that spanking kept me from stealing from anybody. That spanking kept me from going out doing stuff I knew I wasn't supposed to do. That spanking kept me saying yes, sir, and no, ma'am. And whether people like that or not, I'm sorry. That's the way I grew up. I grew up with discipline. I grew up with respect and stuff. And I respect everyone. And that's why I said it. The athletes today that disagree with Herschel Walker, I'm fine with that. You know, and sometimes I even want to sit down with people and talk to them and get their viewpoint. So, because maybe there's something I don't know. Maybe there's something that they've gone through that Herschel don't know. You know, I live in Wrightsville, Georgia, a small little town. Maybe they were brought up with something different than I was, so I can learn from them. But that's what we do. We learn from each other. not continue to put each other down, call each other names, and say all these things. And I thank you, Dan, for bringing me on. And we talking about this because that's one of the things. You give me an opportunity just to talk about it, and not you go out there and just say these awful things and this and that, and people have a terrible idea of what's going on.
I love you, man. I'm one of your mutts too. I'm one of your Italian mutts.
Well,
now that in your family,
I got Italian in my family. I remember my ex-wife was named DeAngelis.
That's right,
from Brooklyn,
man.
New York.
Hey, I'm gonna leave this with you because I heard a rumor that someone told me about 3 years ago. And hey, I may be because I can't say it, but I heard you ran a 4.4. Okay. Now,
yes.
Someone actually told me you ran a 4.3.
Well, it really was right at a 4.3 something, but I could have ran better because at the time, I've been fighting. Well, I'm always fighting. I'm doing all the mixed martial arts. So I really did, and this is for the first time in my life. I hadn't been really going to the track, doing a lot of sprint work. I've been doing a lot of distant work. And so I've been doing a lot of fight and moves and jiu-jitsu and all that. But I felt when I ran, if I had gotten to the track a little more and worked on my technique, worked on my start, because I was a little tight, and I always run like I'm tight, but I was much tighter at that time when I ran, that I know I could have ran better than I ran at that time. So it was like a 4.37 or something. And I know I can run better. But, and that's what I tell, that's what's so funny, Dan, is people don't, people always, and I say this, and I love listening to Michael Jordan. Now I happened to listen to Kobe Bryant one time and Tiger Woods story. And I said, guys, what they talk about is what you have to do if you want success. And I remember hearing Kobe Bryant say, you have some guys want to be great basketball players, but they only practice maybe 2 hours a week. And he said he was doing maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. And, I hear Michael Jordan, he goes early. He was always early there. And Tiger Woods, you saw him at 2 years old doing that. And I started saying, guys, y'all know how much time I put into working out, how much time I put into doing push-ups and sit-ups. People think it's a joke. But I said, guys, you can show up at my house sometime, want to compete against Herschel Walker. And I said, I'll be your huckleberry. It ain't like I'm going to sit here and let you beat me. You'll be in for a long day. I don't care who you are. And that's more in the mixed martial arts side. If you want to raise, I may have to train a little bit, but if you want to go and step into the cage any time of the day, I'm like ready right now. I'm like, I'll go out there and do it.
I'll tell you what, Herschel, I tell people this all the time. There's a reason there's more people in the stands than on the field. And, I mean, hey, I want to be this and I want to be that. I was great in high school. I always do this. Yeah, really. I'm sure you were.
A funny story, Dan, when I first got into the MMA world, I was a black belt in Taekwondo. I studied Taekwondo for over 30-some years. And I went to an MMA camp at AKA with some of the best fighters in the world, with Daniel Cormier and Luke Rockhold and Cain Velasquez, Josh Thompson. And what was funny is, and if I had taken my Taekwondo into that gym, they would have destroyed me. And I finally learned MMA. But I've seen guys coming to the gym because they see it on TV and I can do this, man. I can do this. I'm ready. And I've seen them step in that cage for about 30 seconds. And I don't care. You can put a woman in there that's a good fighter. Step in there for 30 seconds. I guarantee you they want to get out of there quick as they can. You get punched one time, it's a totally different story. And
Amanda Nunes. Hey, Herschel, Amanda Nunes. I had her on a couple months ago, and I told her this. I said, "You're the greatest fighter I've ever seen when it comes to if you want to get on the mat and you want to grapple. She's the best at it. If you want to throw hands, she's the best. She's the most complete MMA fighter I think I've ever seen."
No, I tell you what, that's what people don't realize, that, those people they can fight. And, just coming from me, and I was a Taekwondo guy, but then I had to learn it. And once I learned it, I'm like, yeah, I can fight down too. I'm not that bad. But, it's everybody want to be a fighter until they get hit in the face. You get hit in the face, it changes your thing. And like the big fight coming up like in a couple of weeks with Floyd and the young man that he's fighting.
Paul.
And I said, that's going to be an interesting fight because, I love to see the guts of, I can't think of the young man fighter.
I think his name is Paul.
Paul, I think he got a lot of guts, and I think it's great because he got that cockiness. But I want to say, Paul, Floyd Mayweather is the best. Floyd Mayweather ain't no joke. People need to give Floyd his credit. Floyd Mayweather is not a joke because if you remember, Floyd Mayweather was out of boxing when he did the little jail thing.
Yeah,
was out of boxing for a couple of months or a couple of years, and went straight back and fought with the best in the world and beat him.
Yeah,
and I'm like, guys, don't think Floyd Mayweather is a joke. The man trained. And I think Paul, I give him credit. I think he got a lot of guts. And he probably make good money and maybe it gotta be for money, what he's doing it for. I'm not sure, but it's gonna be a heck of a fight. Like I said the same thing about Conor. I was shocked. I thought Conor, I gave Conor McGregor a lot of credit. And and I've always been a fan of Conor. But after he stepped in there with Floyd Mayweather, I said, Connor's in the class of Herschel Walker, man. He'll do anything. Any crazy thing, he'll go out there and do it. So,
Herschel, let me ask you this. Are you in a good place right now, man? Because, you talk about your youth and you talked about, how, you were bullied as a kid. I know that turned around real quick after a while. And you became anybody who challenged you. They were in for an all-day event. And you had to, according to friends of mine who were on your football team, that national championship team, you challenged Walker. Like you said, you were not the friendliest guy if you started that because that went back to your childhood. Have you been able to manage that now? And because you just sound like you're such in a better place mentally than you were when you were younger.
Yeah, I've been in a better place, and that's what I talk about and what everyone wants to talk about. When I talked about running for office, they're going to bring up your mental health thing. And I said, well, we're all mentally crazy. I need to get that out first. And one of the things that I had was from when I was bullied as a little kid. But I used going to get help to now to help other people, to realize that we all have problems in life. Some of them a little bit more severe than others. But I went and got help. And today I've been helping a lot of military servicemen and women. I've been helping a lot of people. And I talk about it. It was very effective. It hurt me. And I say I use my anger as a coping mechanism through athletics, whereas somebody may use a coping mechanism through alcohol or through drugs or through overeating or something else. Well, I used it in athletics, which was okay until I wasn't competing anymore. And once I went to get professional help, I realized what was going on. And that's what I always tell people. There's no shame to ask for help from anybody. You got to be able to step to the plate and say, you know what, I need help and go out and try to get it.
Herschel, it's been a great conversation. I am so privileged to be your friend. I mean, you've done so much in your life and you're still so much ahead for you and what you've accomplished. I mean, you're your own thinker. I mean, God, it all makes sense now. Just listening to you today, the move to the USFL, being the guy you were, the NFL career, the Heisman, all of that stuff. And now beyond, now the politics too. I'm so glad that you're such a versatile man and you're always evolving. And I appreciate our friendship so much. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me on. And I tell you what, you got a great show. You always have. And I'm glad to see you got a new thing here. And hey, God bless you. And I'll be praying for you.
You bet, man. I'll be voting for you. Thank you, Herschel. I appreciate it, brother. That's my friend Herschel Walker.